of our political history derives its source from how our society was organized prior to the arrival of the European explorers and traders who named our land Gold Coast. And that is a translation into English. The Portuguese did not call us Gold Coast. They call us by the name what land? Who can tell me? This is how important history is. Del Minar. And the first people arrived as Shama in 1471. So you can see the cross there at Shama. The trajectory of our political history, as I said, derives its source from our society, which was organized prior to the arrival of the European explorers and traders who named our land the Gold Coast del Minar. By centuries of the despicable transatlantic slave trade through to the era of colonial rule. The resilience of our forefathers and their determination to reclaim self-rule led to a series of agitations and reactions that culminated in our political independence in 1957. Our beloved country finally attained Republican status in 1960. The struggle did not end there. The country was yet to grapple with a series of coups that toppled the first, second, and third republics until the country's eventual return to constitutional rule in 1993. We don't need any evidence to tell us that what concerns us must be decided by us all. One of the main reasons why the 1992 Constitution stayed up to date is because it was the decision of all of us, not by any group in the society. Everybody matters in life. And we all drafted it together, and we all took the decision in the referendum, and we all felt that we are part and parcel of that document, and so we all decided to obey it. And that is how come, and I said, one of the reasons why we have broken the jinx, and we've been along this path for 32 good years now. Throughout these periods, Parliament has had its own unique history. The struggle for legislative inclusion and participation in governance dates as far back as the pre-colonial and the colonial era, when leading citizens of the Gold Coast agitated and demanded for the colonial government to allow for citizens' representation in decision-making processes. The Legislative Council was first established in the Gold Coast in 1866 to advise the colonial administration on enacting laws. It was, however, not until the 1888 that the first African unofficial member, John Saba, was nominated to the council. Don't forget that John Mensah Saba was the first full-blooded Ghanaian to be called to the bar in 1887 as a lawyer. But before that, there was one Ribeiro who was called to the bar in 1883. But his background was Portuguese, Brazil, and Gold Coast. The two families have been debating it. This is good information to the two families. And so if you talk about full-blooded Ghanaian who was called to the bar, is John Mensah Saba, 1887. But you're talking about a Ghanaian, you can call half-blooded or one-third blooded, but he was a Ghanaian. He is Ribeiro, who was called to the bar 1883. And I'm talking about being called in UK, not in Accra or anywhere in the Gold Coast. I know why I'm emphasizing this, because the two families have gotten in touch with me when I made a statement on the floor in Parliament on this matter. So I want it to be clarified. The John Mensah Saba was the one who led the establishment of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. And so he was the first African unofficial member nominated to the council. After several years of changes in the composition and structure of the council, the National Assembly was established upon the attainment of independence. These developments present a rich historical information for the establishment of a museum. The year 2023 marked exactly 3 decades of uninterrupted parliamentary democracy in Ghana. To commemorate this significant feat, Parliament, under my leadership, embarked on a series of programs and activities across the country to interact with citizens and bring Parliament closer to the doorsteps of the people. We watched with admiration the enthusiasm with which Ghanaians came out in their numbers to participate in the games, the health walks, the mock parliaments, and the fora that we held. And very critical questions were asked about Parliament, about governance, and about development. Distinguished participants, we live in a world driven by an insatiable quest for knowledge. Our rich history has been but a whisper, an untold story, yearning for an audience. This museum stands not merely as a collection of relics. It is a chronicle of courage, a chronicle of sacrifice, and a chronicle of fervent hope of the people. Each exhibit in this museum will remind us of our journey, where we started, the trials we faced, and the unyielding spirit that has time and time again triumphed. A tour of the exhibition will reveal the vigor of countless individuals who sacrificed everything to carve a path for future generations. And we are happy and lucky to be enjoying this sacrifice. Their energy will remind us that governance is not simply an institution, but is rooted deeply in service, integrity, and vision. As I speak, I am reminded of the words of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who boldly declared, and these are his words, "The forces of history and of our action, our own action, have brought us to the point where, with courage and confidence, we may venture forth to liberate our land and our people. This museum houses significant historical documents, documentaries, photographs, and artifacts that narrate the story of parliamentary democracy in Ghana, ensuring that future generations appreciate the sacrifices and the struggles of our forefathers. Those of you who know history very well are aware of 1823, where the first governor, Charles McCarthy, led the war against the Ashantis, and what happened to him. He was beheaded. The British learned a lesson from it. So the museum will also play a crucial role in civic education, helping our children, students, and citizens in general to understand the importance of parliamentary procedures, the significance of their voices and votes, and the weight of those voices and votes in the democracy. So that they don't see democracy as just voting and going back to sleep. It is important to note that on the average, Parliament receives about 17,000 visitors per year, on the average. As a matter of policy, such visitors will be encouraged to visit the museum moving forward. All special guests, such as speakers and heads of state who visit Parliament, will be given a tour of the museum. Finally, the museum will equally foster a sense of ownership and pride among citizens in our democratic process, encouraging active participation in governance and an informed electorate. I wish to use this opportunity to express my appreciation to all the individuals and organizations who contributed in diverse ways to this project a success. I particularly want to thank Mr. Richard Champon, our senior principal assistant clerk, and the committee members he introduced to you. I also want to thank the executive secretary and the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, as well as all those who donated artifacts and other items for the use of the museum. We have also put in place some modulations that you will feel part and parcel of the museum as we thought through it. So we haven't completed all, but there is going to be some high-tech interventions that can be an attraction to give us more visitors to the house, to learn from our history, to participate in what we do, and to lead us to shape the Ghana that we all want. On this note, I wish to encourage each one of you to visit this museum, engage with its exhibits, and share stories of our parliamentary journey with your families, friends, and colleagues. Together, let us illuminate the path of parliamentary democracy in Ghana, fostering a future where every voice counts, and democracy not only for us to exist, but a democracy that is living and thriving sustainably. On this note, I have the singular honor when we go up on your behalf, on behalf of the leadership the clerks, we usually refer to them, the clerkship, the members, and their common name is membership of the House, to cut the ribbon to commission the Museum of the Parliament of Ghana. With this, I thank all of you for your presence, and may the good Lord continue to bless all of us and make our nation greater and stronger. I thank you so much for the opportunity.
A round of applause for Mr. Speaker. This is a good time to celebrate the Parliament of Ghana Museum. Please help me welcome Alhaji Mohammed Inusa to give us the closing prayer. Before Alhaji Inusa gives us the closing prayer, I'll call on Ketre Erajesi to give us the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to express to you the hearty vote of thanks. Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to commend you for such a big feat. Clearly, you are dedicated to promoting the history and the heritage of Parliament of Ghana. And our gathering here today is not just about commissioning of a physical structure, but a journey in a new era to promoting the heritage and history of Parliament and the legislature at large. I'd like to also appreciate the previous speakers, Madam Speaker of the 5th Parliament, Right Honorable Joyce Bamford Addo, and then the Speaker of the 7th Parliament, Right Honorable Professor Aaron Michael Quay. Thank you for laying the foundation to the history of Parliament. Again, I'd also like to acknowledge the members of the diplomatic corps present, the management of the parliamentary service, to the museum committee. Your work is highly appreciated, and I think you deserve a hearty applause. From conceptualization to seeing this museum to life is highly commendable, and we appreciate you. To the members of the parliamentary service and all of us present here, I'd like to acknowledge your presence and to urge all of us that this is a new era to promoting the rich history of Parliament, and it is all our call to support this cause. And I believe that by this, the initiative of the Right Honorable Speaker, we continue to preserve the history of Parliament. Once again, I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ketre, for that wonderful vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I would want you to respectfully observe these. Now, just after the closing prayer, we're going to move for the commissioning ceremony itself. Those sitting in front, just those on the black seat, they are the ones going. We are going to go in badges, so just those in front will go first. Now, the rest of us will be seated here. You are going to be served. The Speaker has made an arrangement for all of you to be served and refreshed appropriately before you come to the museum. You see, Mr. Speaker is a good man. You know, he wants to make sure you are fully satisfied before you come to see for yourself what he has prepared for you. And so we're just going to observe that. Just those in front are going to go witness it, and then the others will come in that order. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we'd like to thank all of you for your time this morning as we invite Alhaji to give us the closing prayer.
All thanks be to God Almighty, the Lord of the worlds, the Creator, the Nourisher, and the Sustainer of the universe. God Almighty, we thank you for the life of the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament and the former Speakers of Parliament, for having preserved them to be with us this day to witness the making of another history, a history in which they have a contribution. God, we thank you for Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. We thank you for the officers of Parliament, and we thank you for preserving our democracy. As believers, when we give thanks and praise to God Almighty, it's not just because of what He has done for us yesterday or what He is doing for us today. For He made it abundantly clear to us in the Holy Quran that, have you not been informed by Ibrahim, that I said that whenever you are thankful, I shall add more unto you. God, we give gratitude this morning so that tomorrow much more will be added unto Parliament of the Republic of Ghana and for the life of the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you very much, Alhaji. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we all rise for the patriotic song?
In a royal society, a body demon, Mojano no Shekunya to woman. It a mini was so, say a bay, built was so, named the Fosso Crosso, running in the same coming. Adrien Bremu Damaya Sassawoto Atom Sen. Omano Sepeyo, Omano Serio, Ayes and Ose, Oma for Brown Hetre, Omano Sepeyo, Omano Serio, Ayes and Ose, Oma for Brown Hetre.
Thank you very much. Please remain standing as the speaker and the dignitaries take their turn to go for the commissioning ceremony. Thank you.
Left.